No bye, no aloha.
I
got
Alex?
Morbid Manda on here today. Is that your official DJ name?
That's my official DJ name, yeah.
Nice. And so I just met you through Evan, my guitar player from Rats, who you've been dating for the past several months.
6 or 7 months or something.
But what's your connection to Hawaii?
My sister moved out here like 6-7 months ago, and
Oh wow,
when she told me that she was moving out here, I was like, oh, I'll move there too. I'd never been to Hawaii,
nice.
but I was super down. I was just like, yeah, I'll move there too. And then I came out here for a month, and I was just hanging out with her the whole time. But then I was like, just after like a few weeks, I was like, dude, I really want some friends. I want to like meet people. I always go to punk shows wherever I travel to. So that was something that I really wanted to do. And I met Julia, and she like invited me to a show. And
Julia is what's her DJ name on KTUH?
oh, DJ the Curator.
Cool. Shout out.
Yeah.
So I totally, when I first met you up until like a couple days ago, I totally thought you were from here and that you had just moved away. But
Like just moved here?
no, I thought when Evan first started dating you, I remember he was coming home and he's like, "Oh man, I met this girl," and he's just all, flustered over you, and I'm like, "Cool," and he's like, "Yeah, but she's moving away." I probably just got it wrong, but whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I was like, "Oh man, what bad luck!" Like he just met this rad girl, but she's moving away. But turns out you were just here on vacation.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
But it sucks because like actually I was here for a month, and then I met Evan the last week I was here.
Jesus.
And so we hung out the last week, and then I went to Korea, and then we were still talking, and then I had a layover on my way back to Oakland, here in Oahu, back in Oahu, and then he like met me at the airport.
I remember that.
Yeah.
There's a funny story I have that he goes, "Oh yeah." Like you guys like shacked up, or not shacked up, but like boyfriend girlfriend up real quick. And he's like, "Hey, my girlfriend likes weed." Like he's like, "You got any weed?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got some weed, whatever." And he's like, Could you like roll me a joint?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And he like, this story? He like goes to the airport, and then like there's some sort of like security check or something. Anyways, basically,
Yeah, and he like hit it in the bush.
he
or
like gets all
something.
freaked out
Yeah.
and like rips up he told me he like rips up the joint. I don't know. And like he came home later, and I was like, I mean, it's like basically it's basically legal here. Like you're not. And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I just freaked out. Whatever. So that was
Yeah.
pretty funny. But yeah. So and then you guys just kept that thing going. But then you keep on coming out here and doing like DJ events out here, right?
Yeah, so like when I came to visit Evan, he was just like, "Oh, do you want to DJ out here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm super down." And then he was, he booked shows, and I was just down to DJ, and then asked Julia if I could be on K2H, and then I was
You
yeah,
did
just
like a little guest KTUH
yeah.
kind of thing.
So I've done guest spots on K2H, like that was like the third time now.
Nice.
So it's always a lot of fun.
What's your preferred genre to DJ?
I mean, I wish I could DJ more genres, but my preferred DJ is just like the wide range of punk that I
Nice.
listen to. It's just mainly like 80s punk, goth punk, I don't know, like some new wave. I have like some oldies, like just like kind of eerie oldies that I
Mhm.
like to throw in, and I think it kind of like it's a nice like diversity, but it also kind of mimics, or like it flows really nicely with punk, which I don't know if you
Like
wouldn't-
probably
I
like
wouldn't
some stuff that
expect.
would like the origin stuff of punk maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Like there's like one oldies dude that I feel like was so before his time. He was like similar to Alice Cooper, but didn't reach that height. Was a Screaming Lord Sutch. You know?
Yeah, I don't know it.
Oh, I fucking love him. But he was like super theatrical, and a lot of his songs, like one of his I think more well-known songs is Jack the Ripper, and like for his live performance he was dress up like Jack the Ripper, even with like the luggage and everything, and then he would come out and then have like these girls like dancing naked on stage, and this
Nice.
is like in like the I want to say like early 60s, if not like late 50s or something.
So pretty cutting edge to have
Yeah.
naked girls on stage.
Totally. And it
Yeah.
was like, and yeah, he was like theatrical in the same way, but I think even more so like with just girls topless like on stage and shit, more than Alice Cooper, but similar in the
Just
like,
way underground.
Yeah.
Nice. When did you start getting into DJing?
Not that long ago actually. Maybe like 3 years ago. Or like 2.5, 3 years ago. I'm an artist kind of first, and then I was in a group show, an all girls show, and they needed a DJ. I'd never DJ'd before, but I had my record collection from high school, and I just learned like 10 minutes before the art show.
Yeah.
The girl whose vintage shop it was, she kind of just taught me. She's like, yeah, this is this, and then if I had any
Some
questions,
faders and some
yeah,
of this
if
and
I had any
that.
questions, I would just ask her, and like it just, I got so many compliments because everyone was like, oh, no one kind of like, it's kind of rare for people to DJ this kind of stuff. A lot of people do mainly soul, funk, R&B, like that's a typical kind of like DJ around
In the scene that you were kind of
yeah,
in
I mean,
at
just,
the time, or
just around the Bay Area. I think it's, I don't know.
that's the hot DJ music at the moment.
Yeah, it's like
60s,
everyone
70s kind of stuff.
Yeah, everyone comes out for oldies and like
Okay.
everyone comes out for soul, funk, like R&B, like even reggae, or I don't know, just any other thing, but punk is just not, I feel like, a specified genre that people focus on.
Yeah, it's definitely been put on the back burner, I feel like, quite a bit, because I think I'm about 10 years older than you, and yeah, I like being in high school and stuff, and the whole punk thing was like, it wasn't cool yet, especially out here. And then when I got out of high school, a couple years passed.
You went to high school here?
I did.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, in IAEA. And it definitely was not cool. And then I felt like the kids who were a little bit younger, as I got out, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like that gets to be cool now?
Yeah.
Like you get to like go to school and have like punky vests and ripped up clothes and all this shit. And then the internet comes out. So you're like, not only do you get to have all this stuff, but then you also get to have it at a time where it's just so accessible, where like, not to be like, oh, back in my day, walking uphill both ways. But like, seriously though,
Yeah.
it was like no internet, and you had to like, hopefully for me, which is still way ahead, is that, hopefully one of my friends did have the internet, and I'd be like, hey, can you burn me a CD with like this, that, and this thing on it? And then it's like, flash forward, skateboarding's cool now, punk rock's cool now, blah blah blah. I
think it's a lot more easy to find all those punk bands too now. Like even when I was in high school, it's like I've lived in that both like no internet and internet time, and even though I had internet, it was kind of like a thing when I was in high school. I learned about so much music just listening to the radio. Like, and I would literally be like, oh, I like that song, and like wait for them to say the song and like write it down. Like that's
oh my God. I used to sit and this was like, again, on the radio, right? So a lot of it was like shitty pop stuff, but I would have had a 2-tape recorder, and I felt like I was so ahead of my friends. I was like, you guys sit there and wait for a song, and then you press record, and then you miss a little bit. I was like, I'll just let one tape roll. And then I'll wake up the next morning and fast forward through it, and then cut the songs and put them on my mixtape. And I was like, my mixtapes were so legit.
Oh,
but
sure. That's so good. That's
but
so
it was
like, that's a genius idea. Like,
but
I
it was
would've
like
never even
bad,
had
and I was like wearing out the tapes, and they sounded terrible. But like, I love that you still have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where did you grow up, in Oakland?
No, I grew up actually in a small city next to Huntington Beach, so Orange County.
Oh, yeah.
So that's also why like I was just around that punk scene was
we
pretty
definitely
big,
probably lived in Southern California at the same time.
Yeah, I was there, I mean, since I was born, and then until I think I graduated high school in 2008.
That's when I moved home to Hawaii. So we're down there at the same time.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, there's a pretty solid punk scene out there, and so I was pretty fortunate in that aspect.
Did you ever see the Agrolites? Do you know them? It's a reggae band.
No.
No, one of my buddies is in that, or my buddy sings for that band. But anyway, yeah, they're. I was just out there, and happens to be Orange County, whatever.
Wait, Original Lights? No.
Agrolites.
Oh, Agrolites. Okay, because my friends are in a kind of like reggae, like
Yeah, you
dubstep
said that
band,
the other
but they're-
day.
Okay, yeah, but yeah. So grew up there.
How'd you end up in the Bay?
I left to go to school. I went to SF State, San Francisco State, and then just stayed up there. I felt like it's more my home now than anything else.
Yeah, I love the Bay too.
It's
My parents are there. It definitely feels like like a solid second home. Like
Yeah.
just being there is like, all right.
Yeah.
For sure.
I can't imagine moving back. But wait, why were we talking about where I came from? I forget, because there was something I think I might have.
Orange County, growing up in Orange County, how you got into
I don't know.
pre-internet
whatever.
stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, pre-internet stuff. Yeah. So then I would write down a song,
Right,
and then I
right.
would go to the record store, and there was.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of where I grew up, because there was this record store. Fuck, I'm forgetting what it's called now. Vinyl Solution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and it's in Huntington Beach. And there's just these OG punks there, and they would just be like, oh, if you like that, here you go. Like, here's this, and here's this. And then so I found out a lot of cool records, like, in high school. So I think when I started DJing, I had a pretty solid record collection, even just from high school. And then I've been building since then. Because I actually stopped collecting records for a while. And then once I started DJing again, I started collecting again. And just kind of re-exploring that whole
seems
scene.
like the whole record thing, it seemed like it was just as far as I was concerned, it was just the punks that were keeping it alive for quite a while, because I felt like, I could be wrong, but I felt like a lot of records just went out of production. Like they were like, nobody's doing vinyl. And now it's like the tape thing, which I was like, tapes? People are making tapes?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, are you going to make 8 tracks too? Like, what the
Right.
fuck, you know? But
they're so cheap though. It's like so
the
easy
tape
to
thing?
make. Yeah, so easy. And
what was my buddy Seth, who is in he's in like several really killer like like noise, grindcore, kind of power violins kind of bands. He's the craziest drummer. He's amazing. And he was the one telling me about the tape thing, and I was like, I don't get it. And he's like, well, it's just kind of like a lot of people aren't even listening to the tapes. It's just the idea that your music is on there. And he was like, yeah, there's these bands that they'll like make tapes, but then they'll like bury them like in a wax form. And it's like, if you want to try to listen to it, you would have to like melt off all the wax. And like, I was like,
what? That's really weird.
I don't know. That's what he was telling me. But then that's when I finally got around to the idea that I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's cool. Because
Yeah.
I don't have a tape player in my car. I do have a CD player in my car. And 9 times out of 10, if you give me a CD, I'll be like, that's cute, but just, are you on iTunes? Because I'll definitely download your stuff right now. But I don't know. Maybe that's just a part of the whole punk thing, is like making it harder to get. Like maybe people are trying to do the tape thing as a way to like push it back to that old time where
I
like
think so.
forcing it to be harder to get. Like,
Yeah.
and that makes sense to me, because that feels nice to
Yeah.
have to be like, okay, well, I guess I have to go buy a tape player, and if I really want to hear this band, yeah. I feel like it's finally clicking to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you said that originally not DJing but art was your main thing.
Yeah.
What medium?
Oh, anything and everything. I mean, I originally I started out oil painting first, like damn near 10 years ago. And with my grandma, we took an oil painting class together, and then it just kind of like blossomed from there. I started taking printmaking. I was a printmaker for like 6 years. I mean, I still am, but I haven't had a studio or anything to work in.
Is that close to making shirts? Like is it a similar kind of a?
Yeah, I mean, screen printing falls into printmaking, but I was in the old school form, so I was doing intaglio and relief printmaking. So that's where you like etch onto copper plates, or like relief. So that's intaglio, and then relief is like carving into something, and then you ink up the plate. and then you run it through a press. Or with relief, you can hand print it with like a spoon. And
So this is very old
It's super
school
old, yeah.
style.
like it, intaglio originated in Europe, and I think that they use the method to etch into armor to make designs
Oh,
and stuff
cool.
onto armor. From what I'm
Oh, that
From what
makes
I'm
a lot of sense. So
understanding.
that'd be the way to keep it uniform. Is you have but it's not a screen.
No, it's not a screen. Screen printing is like a newer form of printmaking that's like more like efficient. And
So
mo-
it's like a stamp is kind of what it is in a way, or
well, so intaglio, yeah, it's like a stamp, but intaglio, so I think it's like pretty much carving into metal plate.
okay.
You have a zinc plate or a copper plate, but there's a wide range of methods that you can use to get that line into the plate. So you can use acid to eat away the copper, like where you draw the line, or you can just like etch into it by hand. That's just called, I think that's just dry point. So, and then there's just all these different kinds of methods, and that form, I love it because it incorporates all the different forms of art that I like. It's like painting, drawing, I guess that painting, drawing, spray painting, like
Yeah.
all kind of in one.
So that was like the
form.
first way to mass produce
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think Picasso did some prints, and
Oh, really?
yeah, I think back in the day they used to use that to maybe design their paintings and then get like kind of the form of what they wanted. It has something to do with like, yeah, being able to like produce, so you can just do one and then print a bunch of
Yeah.
prints from that one. But I know like the old painters did use intaglio, and probably relief too. Yeah, it's a pretty cool way to, I would like carve into wood too, and linoleum blocks.
Yeah.
Those are pretty easy to carve, but it just has a really cool like old school look aesthetic to it, which you can't really get in any other medium.
Yeah, I've seen some posters that were done that way, and I was pretty pumped on them. Like there was a couple. I think it was maybe the band Narwhal. If I could be mistaken, but and then there was like a recent art show that they came around and they were like coming to Downbeat, and they're like, "Can we put up these posters?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can put them up here." And they're like, "So the deal is these posters they're like numbered," and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool."
Oh wow! So they're originals?
So each one, an original print, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
They're not like copies of the original.
No, they were making original print posters.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. So it's way cool. Like, because I mean, I'm so lazy. I'll pull up my phone, make a little poster, send it off to the thing.
Yeah.
But I don't. I'm not an artist. But but I think that's really cool to do. And it's like this is an original poster, and then it's like, I think it's one of those things too, where it's like, once the show's done, it's like people are going to be grabbing them and wanting to keep them.
Yeah, but that's an original. I feel like that I wouldn't want to. I don't know.
Just throw it up wherever.
Yeah, like
right.
I showed some original intaglio, but it's like it took me a month per piece because like it's such a process. Like,
is it one pull per, or is it like several different?
Like one print per like inking up the plate. So it would be like a day just to print, but that's like, so first I come up with the image on a transfer paper, come up with the image, then I transfer it onto the plate. Then I like etch the lines using different timing. Like I usually use acid because it's like the simplest like way, but it's like you dip it into the acid different lengths of time to get different darkness, depth into the lines and stuff like that. And then I would use spray paint the plate, then dip it in the acid. That gives a nice shading because the acid bites around the spray paint.
So you really are using several different types on one. I didn't.
Yeah. And then the way that you block out the plate too is like you paint with a blocking out like chemical. So that's where the acid will not bite, is wherever. So it's like you're kind of painting with that.
Do you have any pictures of these? Like not to pull up right now, but maybe you could send them to me and maybe I could throw them up.
Yeah.
On
I have
here,
I have
hopefully.
a website with a
There you
lot
go.
of old Intaglio stuff. It's
Even better.
like wix.com/morbidmandas dark arts. And there's like a bunch of my old Intaglio. I haven't updated that website in like a long time. So it's just all my old stuff. But my old stuff is some of my favorite stuff because I was like in the studio. I had a lot of time to really focus on each piece, and it was all for class, so I was being graded, so I was really competitive with like just pushing myself a lot. And I think after I graduated college, I'm trying to just like push myself, but it's kind of different pushing myself solo, because in school it's like I'm getting inspired by other pieces. I'm
Yeah.
like kind of like slightly compete, like not trying
Oh my
to,
God,
but like
yes.
just like slightly competing
was
against my
just-
classmates, but it's like so different in the art form where it's like it's not really, because everyone has such a different style and everyone's their own, but still I'm just like,
I can totally appreciate that. I need competition.
yeah
It just in a friendly way.
in a friendly
But I
way.
need
It's
it. I need it. Like
Yeah.
me and Josh will rib on each other, and I'll be like, "Oh, how was that guitar solo you just did?" Like, it could have been better, And it's just like, and he'll be like, "Fuck you," like whatever, blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
and we'll go back and forth. But I feel like that makes you better,
Totally.
and that sort of thing is like I definitely need that. Like
Yeah.
I was always, once I started getting into, because at first I'm playing music and I never thought it was going to be anything. So I was just like, whatever. I was stoked that Josh asked me to be in a band, and I was like, hell yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. Like he was already in this band called 86 List, and it was like, they were already pretty cool. They'd been around for like a couple years at that point. I'm like, a guy from a band who's been around for 3 years wants to be in a band with me.
Yeah.
Whatever. So we started playing shows, and then, I remember him saying, like, one day he's like, you should start your own band, man. You should do, like, he's like, you can write some songs too. And I was like, oh, I don't know. But once I did, it was like, well, can I make a band that gets as popular as this band? And we're talking very, very small level,
Yeah.
but still it's like that. I think it was very much like pulling each other up. There was never
Yeah.
like, I don't think any of us were like, I want to be better than your band.
Yeah.
It was more just like upping the level bit by bit by bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
think-
it's really beneficial. I like that.
That's what's nice about being an artist, like musician, artist, just anything is just, even if you're kind of competing, it's never really that competition of like who can be better, because it's just different styles. Everyone has their own style of doing things, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Once it becomes an actual competition,
Yeah.
and this is just me. I don't want to trash things. Like that's not the point of doing this. But there was a time when Black Square, the band that me and Josh were in, we did a battle of the bands, and we were like, okay, so we're not about battle. Like once it becomes that where you're actually being judged and you're being told like your band's better than this band, we're like, let's go in there and lose on purpose, but let's just be fucking like, let's just make a mockery of the whole thing. And I remember we came in and there was these two statues on either side of the stage, and we wrapped them with toilet paper, and we wrapped toilet paper around all the mics, and we were throwing, and we're just being dicks on purpose.
That's awesome.
And I remember like somebody said to me later on, they're like, I remember you said that. I was like, yeah, thanks to all the bands that opened up for us today. And it was a battle of the bands.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like they didn't open up for us.
Yeah.
It was like we definitely lost, which was the goal. So
Yeah.
but that's not
It's
the
all
type
about
of
having
battle.
a good time.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
about being like that serious of like, oh, I'm gonna win this band
And some
competition. It's
But some
like-
people are, and I don't
Yeah.
want to trash on them. Like some people do want to have like this. We won this battle of the bands,
Yeah.
and that's cool. That's great.
Totally.
But for me, that was just never the thing. It was more like I'm doing this for fun, but the battle is more just to make me better. It's not to put somebody else down.
Yeah.
It's more like I want them to pull me up.
Yeah.
So that's always kind of been the way I looked at that sort of thing, which is cool. That's fun. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I was like, yes, I feel the same way.
when I remember in college, and I always kind of got good grades in art. It's just like art. It's like, oh, if you do the assignments, you get good grades. And I remember there's this one teacher, and she started giving me like B's on things, and I was like, but that was perfect. Like it was all clean, and like I printed every print. It was so like in my mind, I was like, what's wrong with it? Like what? And so it kind of like pushed me to like focus, even though like I didn't really care about the grade, but it was just like kind of like, whoa, what like it's not good enough for you, like. And then it pushed me, but I at the time I was getting really annoyed and frustrated. I was like, why isn't she giving me A's? Like what the hell? But then I came out with my best pieces that year, like
nice.
I ever really did.
It's like you're being
it
produced.
Like pushed me to like, I remember this one piece, I thought I was just gonna throw it out, and she was like, no, don't throw it out, like that's a good piece, you need to just keep working on it. And it's now like my favorite piece I did so far. It's one of my favorite pieces. It's just like a little circus. It's pretty cute.
That like reminds me of being in the recording studio, because I am the same way. Like I'll get in the recording studio and like be like, all right, let's do this thing, and be like and do it, and then inevitably whoever's engineering or producing or whatever will say like, all right, yeah, that was good, like let's give it another try, you can do better. And I'm like,
you're like I just did it.
It's not even that I think that I did a great job, it's more that I just get, oh man, like if I have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, I hate being in the recording studio. That's just not me. My buddy who plays bass in Hell Caminos, I feel like that's where he thrives. Like he's so anal and he can do that, where I'm just like, I feel like the way that he looks at things is like this, and the way I look at things is like,
I look at things like all
cool.
over the place.
That's done though. Like I'll be like, I played the guitar part, that's done. They're like, okay, cool, that was good, but you can do better, so let's do it like 20 more times. And I'm like, 20 more times? That's gonna take an hour. Really? Oh god, that shit drives me crazy. I think I'm so great out the gate. It's not what I think. It's just more like I just get fed up, and I'm like, am I getting better, or am I just getting worse? Like
I know, I'm the same way too, and that's why like I do so many different art forms too. Like now I'm just doing like acrylic painting and drawing, and but that's another thing. It's like I feel like I've been trying to push myself, and I have been, but I just feel like I'm not. If I was still like in school and competing like I was, I feel like I'd be so much better. But so I just kind of do whatever, because I'm all over the place. I get bored so easily, and it's like it's hard for me to be really an expert at anything that I do, because I'm so ADD. I'm like, I just want to learn how to do so much stuff, but I know how to do a lot of things, but nothing like really that well.
I didn't realize how similar we are, because that's exactly how I am. I don't
know. I think that you're a little bit better. Like you're more focused about like you're like a solid musician. You know what I mean? Like I'm
definitely
just,
very
like,
mediocre.
half-ass,
I'm definitely at the top side of mediocre for sure. For sure.
Well,
and that's fine.
I'm like at the low end of like maybe mediocre, like not even mediocre. Like I'm just like
music's been the only thing I've ever stuck with ever.
Yeah, I guess.
And I'll get these little side projects, but like since me and Evan's band Rats is breaking up, which I have like all these mixed feelings about. Definitely my favorite band I've ever been in, but also like time to close that chapter. It's good. I feel like we did what we were gonna do, and that was that, and that's cool. I'll never stop playing music.
Is it just ending because Evan's moving?
Yes and no. That was the catalyst for it ending, but it's also, so the band started and it was just a 3-piece, then we added Evan, and then it became, in my eyes, and I think in all of our eyes, what it was supposed to be. And that band was totally just for fun. There was never the idea of doing anything other than just having as much fun as we possibly could. And when Evan joined it, it made it so that I could not play guitar and I could have as much fun as I possibly wanted to have.
Yeah.
And with him leaving, I support him 100%. I'm stoked. I told him, I was like, you're a little bit what is he, 23? I was like, you're 23. You're a little bit old to be starting that touring life. Like,
No
just get out there. No, I know,
It's
obviously.
like, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, get your ass out there and do this fucking shit. You're too
Yeah.
good to be sitting here playing in fucking Rats.
Yeah.
You need to be out there doing your shit, man.
Totally.
So, yeah, it started. The end was because there was a little idea for a second, like, oh, maybe we'll keep it going without him, and then
I think you guys can. I think we'll be coming out here pretty often anyways.
we could,
so-
but it was. I like the idea of just being like, all right, it's closed. That was that. Not that. Yeah, if for some reason there was like, oh, let's do another show down the line, and everybody was like super pumped on it, yeah, sure, whatever. But I like the idea of just being like cutting it off, and to me, doing the podcast is like my new band. Like, it's like the next thing where I'm like, okay, this is what I'll put energy towards. It's fun. I like it. I love to be able to sit down and get to know people better.
Yeah.
I love being able to just spend time with somebody where I don't have my watch on, I don't have my phone on me. Hopefully they don't either. And yeah, it's like all of this right here, I didn't realize. I was like, oh wow, we have a lot of similarities that I just never realized, just to be able to spend an hour with somebody, just being honest and not trying to be cool, not trying to be on stage, just being real. I like it. I don't know. It's been super fun for me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just been a couple so far, but yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah, I've been thinking about ever since we were talking earlier. I was like, oh, I want to do like maybe I'll start doing videos too, because I was like thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I should do that, because I was gonna do a zine about like kind of like Better Homes and Gardens, but good crypt keeping. But it would be like that, like Martha Stewart-y, but everything's creepy.
Yeah.
And because I like single-handedly kind of like redecorated my whole
I know you don't want to
patio.
drink tonight, so pour yourself a little shot of
I
water.
want to drink tonight. I'm just taking it easy. So maybe in like a little bit.
Yeah, whatever.
So
I just
want
wanted
a shot of water.
Not feel like I'm just taking a shot by myself, so that's all.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, throw it wherever. So that's the zine idea. Good crypt keeping.
Good crypt keeping, and it would just have like, oh, here's how you can recycle items in your house to make like a little garden pottery thing. And I've done that with like teacups and like cinder blocks. Like I painted cinder blocks that my roommate was getting rid of. She had like cinder blocks and a chunk of wood for her desk, and then she got a real desk, so she was throwing out the piece of wood that I turned into I painted it and then cut a hole so you could like put your face into it.
Yeah.
So I turned that into that, and it was double-sided too. It turned out pretty sick. And then the cinder blocks, I just like laid them down, painted them, put like soil in them, and then cut off old succulent pieces, and then just stuck the succulents
That's awesome.
in there.
Yeah, that's a perfect little planner.
Yeah, it's perfect, and it looks cool. And yeah, just things like that, and just like little like drink ideas. I got these little ice cube trays that are bugs, and then like so my friends came over to drink, and I was like, oh, do you want like a worm ice cube or like a spider ice cube or something like that, like in your cocktail? And just like little things. I don't know.
I've had a couple friends that were like I had a friend that I stayed with on the Big Island once, and we went to their place, and it was fully themed out. Like everything was totally. Now I'm not the guy, so I could be wrong. I thought it was all 60s themed, but it could have been 50s, because I'm not that guy that knows that. But for all intents and purposes, right? Like it was all like everything was 60s themed out. Like everything, like the toaster, the phone.
That's
like
sick.
Yeah, and I was like, that's rad.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
super
you should
rad.
totally that's a podcast right there. I mean, that's like that would easily be like
So I was thinking of taking photos and making a zine of it, but then I was like, you know what? I think
Right.
I'm gonna actually film it, and it would be easier, quicker for me to just be like, oh, like pretend like I'm Martha Stewart, but like goth version.
Totally. That'd
And
be
then-
awesome.
Because my whole patio is all spiders and spider web themed. So I have like spider lights and spider web lights like hanging from the patio. So when you walk out, because it's on a sensor. And then I also have like an indoor.
Try to stay really close because
okay.
it might drop off. You can adjust it up or whatever, but yeah, just push it around.
Yeah, kind of
Sorry.
like an indoor lamp that hangs from the ceiling that I hung on the patio. And then like I painted all the furniture, and I got all the furniture for free. Just like found a table, painted it, got the chairs. I work at a school, preschool, like, and they were throwing all these wooden chairs, painted those. Everything is, and then I hung up like the spider web fabric stuff that you get for Halloween,
Right.
that like white stuff. Hung that up like in a space. And then I just have like a bunch of spider lights that are literally just like spiders and with lights inside of them. And it's like this whole little theme out there. It's pretty cool.
I had an idea once where I was a bit more ambitious, but I thought it would be really fun to decorate your house for a holiday. So basically yours is Halloween, right? But like decorate your house for a holiday, but like for the whole year. So
Yeah.
if your whole house is Christmas themed all of the time, I feel like that kind of shit
I
is
love
cool as
that.
fuck.
Yeah.
Like, and being like, okay, every year, like we're going to decorate on Christmas and keep the whole house like full on. Like it'd be like only Christmas Simpsons characters in my case or whatever, like only whatever. I don't even know if you can kind of see the goat, but like, yeah, it's got to be red and green. Like that would work. But that painting, nope, you're out. That painting over there, nope, you're out.
Yeah.
I thought that would be really fun, but I just
Actually, I got a Christmas tree for free, like a fake Christmas tree, along with I got a table and a fake Christmas tree for free from some random guy on the street. And then so for Christmas I put it together and I covered it in webs and made it like all like creepy and stuff.
was
like,
it a
put,
real
like,
tree or fake?
It's a fake tree.
Okay.
And then I put like little tiny like fake limbs on it, like hands, feet, ears, nose, like just there was like spiders, doll heads, like all this random shit all over it. It looked really creepy and I just left it up. It's still up
There
right
you go.
now.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. But it's like Halloween still. It's just a Christmas tree. But yeah, my house is pretty Halloween-y. Just weird.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So I just remembered as you mentioned that you work at it's a preschool.
Mm-hmm.
So that means what, up to 4 years old?
Yeah. Let's see, 4.5, like 5 years old is then they go on to but I work with special education preschool.
Right.
So it's a little
So
more
were
difficult.
there some like sort of prerequisites to doing that job, or is it not
Not
necessarily?
too many.
No.
Just I'm actually an aide, so I aid
Okay.
the teachers. But
Okay.
our classroom is very unique in the sense that instead of regular teachers, there's speech pathologists running classrooms, and then I have my BA in communication disorders. So like I'm kind of more specialized as an aide to be working with that population.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the kids that we're working with are autistic, and their main kind of like problem or area that they need to focus the most on is like communication.
Communication. Right.
So a lot of them are nonverbal, like some of them, the pretty severe ones. But yeah, so it's just we're focusing more on language. So it's a really good program in that aspect. So
yeah, that seems like an intense job to be going to. Well, I'm assuming like 9 to 5, sort of a.
I only work 4 hours a day,
Oh, that's
Monday
good.
through Friday. But honestly, like 4 hours, I'm so
Seems very
drained.
taxing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm drained.
Seems like it would be.
I go home and I have to take a nap. I'm
Well,
just
you
like,
told me a couple stories earlier, which I don't know if you want to repeat. But,
I'll repeat them. I don't even care.
yeah, I don't know if there was any like sort of anything in that field that you couldn't talk about. I didn't want to bring up
Well, I'm
anything.
not.
that
I
you
don't.
wouldn't-
I'm probably not. I won't say any names or
For
like
sure, for
specifics
sure,
or
of
anything
course,
like
of
that.
course.
But
But that okay. So you told me that there was a certain disease or
it's a
disorder
syndrome. Yeah.
that a couple of the kids had. That there were only 7 in the country, or
I think yes. I think that's what I'm told. 7 in the U.S. and 20.
and you have
23
of them.
We have 3 of them at our school, 2 of them in our classroom, because there's Stanford is not that far from our school, and they're doing like research
Oh,
on
so they're
it,
kind of
and
there for a reason. So it does make sense. It's not a coincidence that they're there.
not necessarily, no.
Okay, but tell me about this this syndrome.
It's called Sanfilippo syndrome. So there's not a lot of research for it because it's so rare. So it's like hard. There's not really any
Right.
funding, and all the families that are getting the treatment for it, and it's just like all these children are just guinea pigs pretty much at this point.
Oof.
So because it's just the research is so like minimal because it's not, and it only affects children. So it's hard, like you
But,
only can.
so basically, give a little like a quick little synopsis of what this syndrome is, because you were saying like they basically all die by the age of 14,
10,
10.
like, or
Oh.
that's like the life expectancy, but yeah,
So
so
they
it's
can't
like
communicate.
it's called, I mean, some of them can. It's kind of like there's different types of the syndrome, and it affects people differently, but
Oh, here we go.
so it's
So,
compared
Evan,
to it's like childhood Alzheimer's. So it's kind of the same as Alzheimer's in an old person, but it's affecting children. So it just rapidly kind of like it's like a bacteria in the brain.
Let me just read this real fast. Evan just brought this over. So it's a rare autosomal. Oh man, recessive. Oh, there's a lot of big words in here. Lysomal storage disease. Maybe you would do better at reading this. These are a lot of words that I don't know, but maybe I just want to give the quick little synopsis on what it
So,
is that we're talking about here, because
It's kind of like I think that the brain is not evacuating, or I don't know what letting go of a certain kind of like chemical in the brain. Let's see, it's caused by a deficiency in one of the enzymes needed to break down the glycosamine something.
yeah, a lot of big words that
sulfate, which is
I feel like
extracellular.
we're doing better at just kind of like
Yeah,
you explaining
vaguely
your
just-
experience with it, because
Yeah.
that's a lot of big words that I can't even read or understand what they mean. So I'm thinking
Basically-
maybe I'll put a little cut in here and like flash that description on the, if people want to read it, but
Yeah. It's not really like a main population that we're dealing with. It's just this is the first year I think any of me or my coworkers, bosses have ever seen this syndrome because it's so rare. And a lot, and the families that of the children have moved from out of state just to come to that facility for the treatment.
okay. So
And-
that's why you have so many, and it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some
But
heavy stuff, like you
it
were telling
is-
me that
it's so
So you said one of the
heartbreaking.
kids was just sitting there watching an iPad, but didn't. No. I wasn't going to go into the
the poop thing.
where she pooped on you, or
Yeah.
but you said that they were having a hard time with the communication, right? But for a kid to be sitting there, staring at an iPad, it seems like they're taking something in,
Yeah.
like they are focused on something.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Is it are they able to learn, or
not really, because it's like it's a kind of like a degenerative disease. So it's just destroying, like, I think one of the kids used to be able to speak, but then the syndrome kind of like kicked in, and then she lost that ability to speak. The child that I work with like has a hard time hearing. We don't think that the information that she's getting from visually is processing in her brain the same way. So the iPad is really the only thing that holds her attention at all.
Interesting.
Nothing else, no toys, nothing really holds her attention.
Really?
Yeah.
Not toys.
No. I mean, yeah, she'll pick up a toy and drop it almost immediately.
I wonder what it is about that iPad. It's just maybe the quick visuals.
The combination probably of sound, visuals.
But they have a hard time hearing and a hard time or not they, but
Yeah.
this one in particular.
Yeah, this one in particular, because everyone's different. But yeah, it's hard to say, and it's just all these families are paying for this treatment out of pocket.
Yeah.
They've moved their whole lives for their child that's inevitably, and sad to say, but probably going to pass away within the next 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like it's the most selfless thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, and maybe in the hopes that there will be
I think that these
from the
families
research there will be something to further the treatment of
in the
this
future
syndrome.
Yeah, so basically it's genetic. So it's like it's a recessive, like maybe like recessively genetic, where two combinations, the combination of two genetic like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
So the mother and the father have a specific thing that when they come together it makes this happen.
Yeah. But it's like
Geez.
Yeah.
Well,
so
maybe they could at least find a way to test for that.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing is like, I'm like, if I ever decided that I wanted to have a child, I would definitely get genetic testing, like me and my partner, whatever, like have us both, like, to see what the possibility of like just working with special education. I mean, I love it, but it's also taught me a lot and made me really grateful that my brain is where it's
Because
at.
I believe, maybe you could look this up. Maybe I think that in Europe, they're actually a little ahead on, sort of. I don't know. I feel like this is such a touchy subject, but I feel like they kind of do a bit more to looking into if their child is going to have some sort of problem.
Yeah, you can.
And presenting it to the parents.
Anyone can do it. You know, you could just, a lot of the times the doctors encourage older parents to do it. Because a lot of the times those kinds of things kind of tend to be more present the older you get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely, no matter what, I would get genetic testing and see what.
It's just hard. I mean, I feel like it's one thing if you do it before the fact and they go, oh, you two should not breed. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would probably do it before.
I mean, I am very much in the camp of there's a lot of kids that are alive that need care right now.
I'm the same exact way, actually, because ever since I was pretty young, I always wanted to adopt a child. Like that was like, if I really want to have a kid, I'm going to adopt one. The only difficult thing about that is like, they're so expensive. It's almost like, it seems almost easier just to have your own.
But a biological child is also very expensive.
Yeah, but you're not like paying that initial fee,
right.
You know? It's like adopting a kid, it's like starts at around $25,000 and then it goes up from there. Depending on
what
like
is
where
what's the difference, like what is a typical child, biological mother and father having a child, what does that typically cost, I wonder?
I don't know. Cuz it's like,
I mean, look at that real quick. Just what is the typical cost of having a child? Cuz I'm actually curious what the difference is.
Like in a hospital, like the hospital bill, because because okay, let's say like one of my friends in San Francisco, they just recently adopted a child, but they got directly, like the mother had the child, they flew out, picked it up as soon as it was a newborn. So it's like, but they had to pay, I think, close to $45,000, and then they get the child, and then they have to pay for all those expenses.
So the cost of having a baby isn't cheap in the United States, at least. The average cost of having a baby in the U.S. without complications during delivery is $10,808.
Wow.
Pretty specific, which can increase to $30,000 when factoring in care provided before and after pregnancy. And then if you could just really quick, if you could just do like the standard adoption, because if that's the case, the number you tossed out was 25,000, right?
That's where it starts, and it just,
and then
I think
30,000 was with complications, blah blah blah. Everybody's gonna have some sort of something. I mean, it's in the ballpark.
Yeah, I guess it's about the same, but it's also difficult to adopt a kid. You know, you have to have like a certain income,
but
a certain like,
you know,
But I don't know. It's
proves
still
that you're able to take care of a kid.
yeah, definitely.
Adopt from another country can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $40,000. So potentially a little bit more, but potentially
It's
a
like,
lot less.
I'll just shop for one from a cheap country.
I
I'll get one of those $5,000 ones. Where are those ones?
I mean,
at?
I think the thing is like if you, this is just me. There's a lot of people out there that feel the need to have their own spawn.
Yeah, and I get that
I
too.
just don't. I just absolutely
it's
don't
like
have that feeling.
you know where that kids come from, and that's another thing. It's like along the lines of like what we went back to what we were talking about. It's like adopting a kid. You don't know what the genetics of this child. Something could pop up. Something could be like maybe it doesn't appear in the.
But the kid is alive. That's the difference to me.
Yeah.
The only difference is that kid is alive right now, and you're talking about making a new kid right now.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm very selfish, and I'm not going to have a kid, and I'm not out there trying to adopt a kid either.
Yeah.
I'm just like I was talking to Josh the other day. I'm like, it's all I can do to take care of a cat, which basically takes care of itself. I'm like, oh, did I scoop the litter recently enough?
I mean,
not
think
to make that light of it, but
I think that those kinds of instincts really just kick in when you're in that situation.
I think
and
so
you
too.
don't really realize it.
I do think so too.
Because I'm the same way. I'm like, dude, I can't even take care of myself. Like, it's so hard for me to even eat 3 meals a day. Like, just little things like that. But it's like, so I'm definitely right there with you. I'm gonna be 30 and like, I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. But
do think about it. 30 is awesome. When I turned 30, I was pumped.
Jesus.
You're about to turn 30 in a couple months?
In 7 months.
That's when everything is great. That's when weed is even I feel like when I hit 30 is when smoking weed became the best. Something about it.
I feel like I'm getting to the point of letting weed go, which is saying a lot for me. Yeah, I've been smoking consistently since I was 16 years old.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I took a big break in my 20s. Oh, quite a big break.
So that's 13 years? 16, 6, 7.
Since you were 16?
Yeah.
That's when you're not supposed to smoke too much. That's when it's going to affect you in a bad way.
Yeah, I'm experiencing the repercussions of my actions at this point in my life. I'm like, oh shit, I smoked way too much weed when I was younger, because I'm like an old lady in my brain sometimes. I'm like just so forgetful, and
my memory is complete garbage as well.
But I don't think that it would be that much better if I didn't smoke weed, but
definitely
who knows?
Not.
I don't really know.
Not definitely not, but I don't think so, because I was straight edge for a good chunk. I smoked weed a bit in high school, and then I stopped when I was about 19, and then I don't think I started smoking weed again until about 28. And I started doing it lightly here and there, but I remember turning 30 and being like, having everything just settle in and being like, oh, this is great. This is when it's really great.
I think life is really settling in with me just recently. You know, it's like I've been told from everyone, because I've been mentally trying to prepare myself to turn 30 and everything, and everyone keeps telling me the same thing. They're like, oh, 30's great. You really come into yourself. Like, life seems more comfortable because you're just like, this is who I am, and like whatever, you know, like you're very just nonchalant about like the little, kind of let a lot of the little things go. A lot of the insecurities kind of just fade away. So I kind of feel like I am at that point, but it's just a lot of things that I'm like, I don't feel in certain areas that I'm looking back, it's like, am I where I wanted to be at this age? And I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. I am and I'm not. And
life's a journey. It's, you know.
But I'm pretty grateful for where I am at right now in life.
I just felt like I definitely wasn't at a destination point. I never, you know, I'm talking 6 years ago for me. Yeah. Like, I wasn't at a destination point. It was more just like, okay, this is the guy I am. All right.
Yeah.
You know, I went through a lot of changes in my teens and in my 20s. Anybody who knows me will be probably like, I saw all those. But from 30 until now, I feel like it's basically been basically been a smooth ride. Not that I don't have ambitions and want to do more, but just falling into this place of basically like in that time, what I decided was travel was the important thing to me. And I started just going, okay, I'm going to save some money. And once I get that buffer, I'm just going to travel my ass off and damn everything else. Not everything, but I take my job seriously and I try to do a good job but I want to hit the road as often as I possibly can. And that was the thing for me. And you said you also traveled a lot, right?
I've had that travel bug since I was young. My parents loved to travel. And so I think that just kind of like instilled the vision of like, wow, there's so much to see. And and to
learn about other.
Yeah. Just see and like just experience other cultures and everything. But actually so I always wanted to travel, and that was always like a main thing for me, like first, like my whole life. And but what really kicked it in, this is actually the kicker. So late October, early September of 2017, I was driving to work, and it was like 8 p.m. and I was at a stoplight. I just left my friend's barbecue, and I was wearing a skirt. So I decided to change into my work pants because I was on my way to work at the stoplight, and like took off my skirt, and then the light turned green, and I was like, oh, it's okay. Like I'll just put my pants on at the next stoplight. So I started driving. All of a sudden I hear gunshots, and there's literally two cars driving and shooting at each other. Jesus. And I'm just like driving, and I have literally
no pants on.
Literally I'm Donald Ducking it like straight up, like nothing, like just a t-shirt. And then I was just like 2 seconds before that happened, I remember thinking, I was like I looked down and I was like, if shit went down right now, I'd really be fucked. And then literally 2 seconds, not even, gunshots, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm in Oakland, I better get down.
Did you get killed?
Yeah. This is the afterlife. Yeah, this is me. I'm just on Nick's podcast, and you guys are all dead, and we're all dead.
I didn't mean to like
no,
throw
but
that. I just had to say that. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, no, it's like, it was weird. It was such a shock, but it was like.
But you'll never forget that now.
No,
you didn't have pants on.
Yeah. No.
And people were shooting at each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons I'm not going to forget this.
I ducked down, and then my back window, I was driving.
You got shot out?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So and right after, so I like duck down in my car, my back window shatters, a car whips around my car and just hauls ass towards the freeway, and I'm literally just sitting there like, holy fuck, what do I do?
Were you still rolling? Did you screech
I
to
stopped.
stop?
I was like doo just driving, and then like there was cars in front of me. I hear the gunshots, so I like kind of like slowed down. I didn't know what to do. I just like slowed down, ducked down, and I was like, I think I was still going a little bit. And then, but it was crazy. After my window shatters and I'm just sitting there, I look over and there's not after that car speeds off, there's not a single car around. Everyone was gone. And I was like, there was like a whole line of cars in front of me, and they're all gone. And like, and then I like pulled over, and I called my work, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna be late. I just got shot at. Like, and then, I was like, fuck, I need to get out of here. Like, I don't even know like what's going on. So I just drove home, parked my car, and then I was on my way to work again. Then I realized that the whole street that I just got shot at, like, was all cautioned off. I guess one of the drivers was in the hospital that was like shooting at each other, from one of the gangs or something, because it was a gang shootout. It was two rival gangs. And so I like stopped and just told them, I was like, yeah, my car just got shot at. I don't know if that's relevant to the situation. They're like, they had to search my car. They didn't find anything. It was just the weirdest thing. They didn't find any like bullet shells, nothing in my car. But I was like, and then it must have ricocheted off the light or something like that. I had a Honda CRV. So like it's like a
Yeah.
it's all through, you know. So
Mhm.
once after the window shattered, I kind of like after I pulled over, I just like checked my body to check if I got
You're
shot. I just
Did I get hit?
yeah,
Did I not
when
feel it?
after I heard the window shatter, I just like was in my mind imagining a bullet going through my seat and like just and then so after that happened, it was I think like just 2 days before I was going to go visit my sister in Florida. She was living there at the time. And so I called my family and like told them what happened and everything. I still went to work that night too. And I was all shooken up. But then my family was just laughing at me. They're like, you of all people would get shot at with no pants on. They're like, you're an idiot.
Oh yes,
Like,
I forgot. The whole story came full circle. That's
Yeah.
right. The no pants on.
yeah.
When did you actually get to put the pants back on?
Right after I got shot, I was like, fuck, where's my pants? Where's my pants? And I like
Gotta
put my
get these
pants,
pants
on.
on.
Yeah. yeah.
Oh
And then my family
God.
was like, that would have been a whole nother slew of questions if you got killed and then you weren't wearing any pants. It's like, why isn't this girl wearing any pants? And now she's dead in her car.
It's good
Like,
shit.
yeah. So it was just
Makes
like,
for a better story.
yeah. I know everyone there. I told her like, why, Amanda? Why the hell did you have pants on? Why were you driving no pants on? I'm like, well, I just, I was getting ready for work in my car. I was on my way.
Sometimes you got to
just-
change while you're driving.
I have never changed in my car since.
That's nice.
I always keep my clothes on.
Awesome. I think that's good. I think that's a perfect place to end this thing. I think that was great. I love that
Wait,
story.
no, because that's
Oh, you got something else?
well, that was the whole story that kicked in traveling.
Oh.
Because that's where it
Okay.
started.
Oh, well, actually, perfect because Evan just said we're at 10 minutes from an hour, which is perfect. So we'll do the final thought then.
So, yeah, so I went to Florida, came back, and I booked a ticket to Barcelona. And I went to Barcelona by myself December of 2017. And that's when I just like went crazy, just traveling back to back to back. Just like
Nice.
I went to Barcelona. I think that year I went to Costa Rica with a bunch of my friends. I think last year I went to Mexico in February, came here, went to Korea. I drove to New Orleans last June.
I'm about to go in a couple of days.
Or New Orleans, sorry.
I heard it's supposed to be called. Yeah. No. I think you said it. Yeah. New Orleans is what they said from one of these fucking videos that I saw. I've been watching a million videos of like, what's the coolest shit to do in Orleans? And it's like, oh, well, don't do what all the tourists do, but blah, 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 which is what all the tourists do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but New Orleans
You're going to go there
with the
soon?
lens. Yeah, in like a couple days.
Oh,
So
you should
I'll
check
actually
out
probably
Red
be
Truck
posting
Gallery.
this from New Orleans.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should check out Red Truck Gallery. I met the girl that runs it. She's pretty cool. And all the artwork there is outstanding.
Definitely
Like,
write me down some recommendations.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be there for a week, which a bunch of people have been like, that's a long time to be there. And I'm like, well, is it? Like, I mean.
No, I
you
think
can-
I was there for a week. And French Quarter is
Mhm.
cool.
Definitely. We're staying. That's where we're staying.
Nice.
Yeah. But so you got that travel bug and it was just like.
Yeah, it was just I
Go,
was
go,
just
go.
all I thought was I gotta see some shit before I die, man. Like that was
That's what's okay. That's what
Yeah.
sparked it. Is like I could die at any moment.
Yeah,
Let's
I
fucking
was-
go.
that was when I was 27,
Absolutely.
so that was 2 years ago, and I was just like, dude.
Well, don't stop
And-
moving, and especially
Yeah.
take Evan with you around some
Oh
places.
yeah, no, I
You have your
got-
fucking passport, Evan? Jesus Christ. You do? Good. No, you
no,
don't.
he doesn't.
It's not that hard to get. Get your
No,
passport.
he's gonna get it like real soon because I want.
That's-
I'm
you-
always going places, and I'm like,
You got to. And you know, I so I went to college for a semester, but then I said, I didn't even like high school. Why am I in college? This is not for me.
yeah, I hate school.
It just wasn't my preferred way of learning.
Yeah.
I like learning.
Yeah, me too.
But that was not, it just wasn't set up for me the way
No.
that I wanted to learn.
Me neither. It
and,
was so
um,
hard to get through college for me.
But when I went, I remember specifically one night being on tour and I was in Newcastle. And I remember we had a little flip video phone and we were making a little tour video that we're going to edit when we got home. And we said to somebody, we go, what do we say? We go, tell us about where you're from. Or no, we didn't say tell us about you're from. or tell us about where you're from. We said
Tell us where you've been or something.
no, we said we're from LA. And they said, "Oh, we know about LA. LA Lakers, LA Dodgers, LAPD Blue." They named off like, a handful of things. And we go, "Okay." And they go, "What do you know?" The interview went on, blah blah blah. We talked back and forth. Point is we got to a point where he said, "Well, is there anything you want to say to people in America?" And they said, "Yeah, you should learn more about us because we know a lot about you."
Yeah.
And I was like, that moment in my life,
So true.
I just went,
Yeah.
I was like,
Wait, where was this at?
Newcastle.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy how much the rest of the world knows. There's so many,
but
many
they
people
know
that
about
know more facts about
not only
America,
America, but like
Americans.
they just know, like they're just more up on what's going on in the fucking world.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't name off NYPD Blue and or not NY, LA Lakers, LAPD Blue, and LA Dodgers. I couldn't name that off about Newcastle. I could be like, there's a beer, but is it actually from there? I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I think probably. Fact checker, maybe. But whatever. Like, is
Yeah.
Newcastle actually from Newcastle? But I don't know. And they did know.
Yeah.
And that's the moment in my life where I went, this is what's important.
Totally.
Going different places and seeing things. It's from the Netherlands. Yeah, interesting. So Newcastle Brown Ale is from the Netherlands. Yeah. All right. I mean, whatever. Doesn't matter. That was the thing that I thought, like, there was a Banksy painting. There was a right outside the venue he played, and I was like, "That's cool." Oh, you have a Banksy painting? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. Banksy was here.
But that was the thing that I just realized. Like, I watched this movie called Arrival. If you didn't see this movie, to me, one of my very favorite movies, Arrival, and it's about these aliens that come down. I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody, but basically, it just
I like aliens.
it was communications, which is what you're into.
I mean, it's
Not
just what I went to
communication.
school for.
Okay. You're not that interested in it.
It's interesting, but I'm just more. My heart's more into like art forms, making art, music.
I think you
It's
might.
just-
I think
it's
there's
just-
a potential you might like this movie, Arrival.
Yeah,
Basically
no,
just-
definitely, because if it has to do with aliens, I'm all about it.
But it's just the idea. It's. I felt like it was a little bit more, although it was a mainstream movie, had a little bit more of an indie feel to it in a way. It wasn't so much. Was not like Independence Day or anything like that. It definitely wasn't like that. It had more of a. On that whole communication thing, it was like one of the main points, and I don't think it's giving away too much. Spoiler alert if you give a fuck about not watching that. But it was if you learn a certain language, you see things a different way. And I think it's really true. And I think that just certain people from different countries, just the fact that they know a different language, or that's their first language, and that's the way that they kind of come across. I remember when I was young and I was dumb and I was working in coffee shops, and like Japanese tourists would come up and I would feel like they were being rude. But that wasn't the case at all. That's just the way that their language was coming across to me.
Yeah,
And then going to Japan, I was like, I was such a fucking asshole. Like, what the fuck was wrong with me? Like, that's not the thing. Like Japanese, for instance, they'll kind of wave you down. Like if you're a server or if you're a bartender, they'll kind of wave you down. Now in America, you don't like that. As a bartender or a server, you go, that's rude.
Yeah.
But in Japan, that's just the norm. So I remember being there and sitting at a table and being like, oh, it all fucking hit me.
Yeah.
And being like, that's right. They wave you down. And I remember just waving down the server. Boom. They came right over and they go, what's up? What can I get for you? And we're like, oh yeah, we'll just have, all this delicious Japanese food. And,
what my favorite thing was about the service too, is like a lot of the restaurants, they have a button that you push to get the server. And I was like, why doesn't every restaurant have that?
Was this in Japan or in Korea?
In Japan.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why doesn't every...
Because in America, that's considered rude.
But it's just like, it doesn't waste the server's time when
right.
when you're ready,
Not
you
true.
push the button.
No,
when
because
you need them, you
what
push
would
the
happen is because I'd be working a lunch rush and every single person would be going, I need to be back to work in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. You can maybe turn off the buttons at that time. I don't know.
But okay, we did hit the hour, so I'm not trying to let these things go too much over an hour. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been a fucking
podcast.
pleasure. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's been a great time. Wait, did you want to take a shot?
Do you want to take a shot?
Sure.
All right. I'm all about taking a shot.
Cheers to finale. Cheers, finale. Not a big one, though.
I'll let you pour yours.
Okay.
You're a sweetheart. I love you. Thanks for being on.